Born in Funchal and holding a degree in journalism from the Situa Superior School of Education, Paulo started his journey at RTP in 2003. Throughout his career, he has hosted numerous TV shows, including sports, culture, and news. Also, he was an RTP special correspondent in countries like France, Spain, Belgium, Italy, England, South Africa, Venezuela, United States, Morocco, etc. And he has a special appreciation for training new journalists and technology. Paulo, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Start whenever you want.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, thank you to Universidad de Vigo and CIRCOM for the invitation. I don't have the PowerPoint skills of Urbano. In fact, I don't have any PowerPoint skills, thank God. And so I did what any half-decent journalist would do and cheated. I brought a video that kind of explains what I wanted to transmit here. So, can we?
Yes.
There's, I hope you can hear, we don't have any speakers. This is on Max. I hope you can hear it. Very slow here.
Hello, good evening, welcome. For those who may not know, this is a television set, very old now, but so pretty when it was built in 1956, the same year as the first experimental transmission of the Portuguese radio television company at the Lisbon local fair. And what were all these people looking at? Why, a television set, of course. Well, I'm from an island called Madeira, off the coast of Africa, relatively near to the Canary Islands. And our regional production center started transmitting in 1972. And what did we show first? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't Taylor Swift.
Para os senhores espectadores da Rádio e Televisão Portuguesa, não há dúvida nenhuma que a vinda da Rádio e Televisão Portuguesa para a Madeira trata-se de um fator de grande promoção cultural, sobretudo para aquelas pessoas, para aquelas populações a quem a televisão ainda não chegava com as suas benesses.
Oh, those were the good days. Everyone just had one channel, and so everyone watched the same thing, whatever we wanted them to. It was marvelous tyranny. Every single person wanted to be on television. TV journalists were revered. Cameramen wore suits. No, really, cameramen wore suits. But do we really miss those days? Oh, yes. There was one small issue. No one watched RTP Madeira outside the islands. We were working for a potential market of 250,000 people. Now, let's take Vigo, for example. From Funchal, where I am now, to Vigo in Spain, where you are, there is a distance of 1,286 kilometers. Although I am technically in the room with you. So, well, anyway, the point is, you probably never heard of RTP Madeira until now. And why would you? You see, there are about 9,000 television channels in Europe and 3,500 streaming services. But now, you can access my channel by a simple touch on your smartphone. Go on, get your phones out. I even got this QR code for you. You know, just pointy clicky. And that makes it universal.
Boa noite, sejam bem-vindos ao dossiê de imprensa.
On May 26, 2010, RTP Madeira opened its Facebook page. And that very day, we put up 8 posts. All of them basically said, watch our show tonight. In all of those posts, we had 1 like. The next day, we did 4 more posts. On the 3 posts that talked about our programming, we had absolute indifference. We had 5 likes on the one that said, good morning to all. This was our first incursion in the world of social media. 14 years later, we have besides the Facebook account, an X account, a Threads account, an Instagram account, a TikTok account, and a WhatsApp channel. So let's take this app as an example. We've managed to convince all of our journalists, TV and radio, that they're actually part of a multimedia company. Imagine that. And so we gave them all smartphones and told them to use them. These days, when a team goes out on a story, they go about their business, TV and radio-wise, but they also take a picture or a small video clip, write a few lines of text, and send it all via WhatsApp to our media team, and they publish it almost in real time. We've come to realize what we already knew since 1956. People want the news right away, as it is happening. And so in spite of our media team being composed of 3 people, we have over 50 people actively contributing to our media platforms. And not just journalists, producers, assistants, hosts, directors, technicians. And they do it because they feel a part of it. What I like to call the everyone wants to be a reporter reaction. But this raises another question. Should we give the public the opportunity to be a part of the news flow? I think we kind of do it already. You see, Madeira is the best island destination in the world. It has held the title for 9 consecutive years. But there are, at times, difficulties. And through all these hardships, something interesting has happened. We started getting dozens of videos and photographs of average people just wanting to contribute, and most of them not asking money in return. So the question is it a vein that we should explore? And if we do, are we condemned to see the public fighting us for the best footage? And can you really tell the difference between an iPhone video and a professional camera video? Place your bets. So it really comes down to what we do with the information is what matters.
Foi criado grupo de trabalho para mitigar os efeitos do sargaço.
Boa noite, seja bem-vindo ao prolongamento.
É um incêndio que está descontrolado. Neste momento são várias frentes.
Neste momento as chamas vão descendo em direção à Vila do Porto.
The man who calls himself Mr. Beast has 246 million subscribers on YouTube. That's more than any TV channel will ever have anywhere in the world. He works in media, the same as us. Only he gets paid way more than us, and rightfully so, because he finds something new for his audience every day. Do we?
In this video, we're going to help over 100 different stray dogs find a loving home.
Something all of these dogs have in common is that they were abandoned or rescued from kill shelters. Some of them would have even been dead by the time this video was uploaded.
Which is why I brought all of them here to this massive dog sanctuary to get every one of them adopted.
The first RTP motto was to form, to inform, and to use. And for more than 65 years, we've been giving the people lovely television. The problem is, everything is changing. In almost 70 years, we went from this to this.
I'm loving the hair. I like his nipples as well. I do like to squeeze them a bit, rub them.
You may ask, is it wrong? Oh yes, definitely. Very wrong. But apparently, it's what people want to see. So we've come to a crossroads. On one side, we work for the people, and on the other, we work for the people. Doesn't seem to be much of a choice, does it? The fact is, cable television will end eventually, in our lifetime, I suppose. But what will we do? There's this group of people who seem to have the answer. Streaming apps started recently to transmit live sporting events with a much larger audience than all of the stations in that room combined. So there isn't much doubt about what's going to happen. It's already happening. I will bet you an empanada gallega that we will all be working for streaming service in less than 10 years. We already do in some form or another.
Olá, muito boa noite e seja bem-vindo ao seu Madeira Vivo.
But how do we grasp it? Well, we do see what's right in front of us, that young people care only about one thing. Their mobile phones. Okay, I'm being unfair. Two things. Their mobile phones and their video games. And so we thought, seems simple enough. We can probably do this. And so RTP created the arena. Look at them. Almost feels like a real sport, doesn't it? Well, it isn't. And they could use some exercise. But it is the future. And we do have to be on it if we want to survive. And we do. So media companies are changing. And if yours isn't, well, that's something to be concerned. You see, it's not about losing jobs or dismissing people. It's about changing jobs and engaging new opportunities. For the last decade or so, we have, with the help of CIRCOM and the EBU, trained our journalists to be mojos. No, not that kind. Mojo means mobile journalist. And what does a mojo do exactly? Well, everything, really. Writes, captures, edits, sends. So we don't need cameramen or editors. Oh, no. Of course we need them. We love our cameramen. I'm not being threatened. It doesn't mean we're firing everyone. It just means that journalists are now more of a complete package. And it means that there are less differences between writing journalists and image capturing journalists. And no, not everyone wants to be a mojo, but everyone knows it can be done. We don't ask them to be mojos every day, but we do ask them to be prepared to be one when it's necessary. A great man once said, "The future belongs to those who prepare for it today." Well, the future is now, my friends. I think we all learned a valuable lesson through the years. Cameramen should wear suits.
And that's it. This is very news-driven, but I am a journalist and head of news, so so the meaning of this, we do realize we have to change, and we're changing. We're trying to change, but there are, as Urbano said, a lot of difficulties. But I'm a bit more optimistic than you are. I think it will change because It has to change. So that's it. Questions? Dilemmas?
I started to move mobile journalism 9 years ago into my company. Okay? I suffered a lot. The cameraman want to kill me. Okay?
Me too.
Even this day. Now they get from the iPhone, for example, iPhone 15 Pro Max and professional cameras. It's very it's a
you can't tell the difference.
I have been trained more in a lot of countries, but some companies see model like a way to change professional cameras only in economic terms, not in mindset terms. Model is an attitude. It's not about to be mobile.
It is an attitude. You know how I won the Mojo battle? Through the cameraman. We started to train the cameraman to be Mojo, not only the writing journalists. We started first with cameramen. So we didn't have that barrier. And now they understand they can be, and they are Mojos. So that's one less barrier we have to face.
You think the trick is start with cameraman, not with journalists?
If you start with cameraman, you don't have the I want to kill you situation because you want to fire me. So it's like I said in the video, it's not about, it's about changing your job, not eliminating your job. You're a cameraman, but you're also a journalist. So you can write, you have learned to read and write, so you can write, you can do your footage, you can send it, and you're a Mojo. Same as the writing journalists. Anyone thinking that's going once, going twice, never going to.
Don't you have any trouble with the trade unions when you try to go to those to use Mojo?
Yeah, because they're all journalists, just the same. In our job description, it doesn't say you have to work exclusively for television or radio. It says you work for a media company. And working for a media company, you have to do whatever it takes. Our TV journalists also can do, and some do, some small things for radio. Our cameraman sometimes records some things for radio. It's a slow process, but I think it's a winning process. It has to. I think we're winning the battle. And I don't know, 10 years, it'll be won until the next one.
Thanks, Paulo. Congratulations on sort of winning the battle. Because I remember generally 25 years ago being asked to set up a union of one-person journalists, you know, and back then obviously the technology was much less suitable to do it. And in practice, it was about the friction. But in the end, it wasn't worth having one person on their own because they need, you know, for example, to do sound, or they needed to.
Yeah, the technology wasn't that bad.
I agree, it's absolutely fair now. And, there is no excuse. And I love the way that you started with the camera people rather than leaving them as the action, because it seems to me there's an opportunity there. All the camera people I worked with kind of thought they were better journalists than me anyway. You know, they wanted to do the interview and they wanted to write the scripts and stuff. My question to you is, I can see the technical side, that how you're covering news better or more nimbly. Has it made any difference to the kind of stories you do? Because to me, that seems one of the biggest opportunities. So it's not just about, we do the same things, the press conferences, the crashes, the floods, but we might be able to do other stuff that connects us better to the audience because we are more nimble and more the cost basically doing it much.
It's a very interesting question. I was very glad to hear Maria's presentation on TV Galicia and the app, because they're uploading first to the app and then broadcasting it. That we're not doing that yet, but I think we have to in a relatively short period of time. I'd say about 2, 3, 4 years, and that's the difference. We're still focused on broadcasting, and the stories have changed a little bit. We have some only online stories. We have done whole documentaries only with Mojo settings. But I think it has to come with the new generation of journalists. We all know those 50, 60-year-old journalists who won't go near an iPhone. And that's not going to change. It's pointless trying to change those people on those late years of their life and just counting the days to retirement. So we have to bet. You said there were coming in 1,500 people to RTV. Well, those you have to bet on. Now I think, as I said, it's a slow process, but I think in about 10 years we will all have a different perspective, on an optimistic perspective, I hope, about all this. Okay. Yep.
I think we've been talking about Mojo for quite a long time, and we are like setting Mojo on one side, and then you have the photographer, the journalist, the team on the other side. But on the other hand, you have quite a lot in between those two, like the video journalist, which is actually a Mojo with a bit bigger camera. So for me, it's more about how do we distribute our raw material, how fast is our operation, from field to the editorial, and how few people can do the job.
You see, we don't want to replace the video journalists. We're talking about a new profession. It's not a new profession. It's a new activity. We had up until now a really distinct separation between the writing journalists, the photographers, the video capturing journalists. There is no reason for that distinction right now. You're a journalist. You're a media journalist. I make no distinction. We have 30 journalists in RTP Madeira, 45 if you count the radio. The radio is a bit more difficult. They're not used to engaging with image, but we'll get there. I make no distinction in those 30 journalists. Some of them obviously can't write documentaries, but for the mainstream of news, they're all necessary and they're all the same. And if you treat them all the same, you won't have that reaction of, I want to kill you because you want to end my job. That's why we started with the camera. You can't make any distinction between them. That's it. Thank you.